Today I'll be going live with Angelina from Barcelona. I believe she is from, but she'll explain where she's from. And in this live, we're going to be going over a plethora of topics from hormonal issues, gut issues, what we see every single day in our coaching, really just in the trenches, helping people just like you that are suffering with weight loss resistance, fatigue, bloating, not being able to lose weight, and all those different things. And so I'll wait for her to load on here. Angelina's been coaching for a long time now, and she's very successful coach herself. So it'd be great to get on here and kind of collaborate on what specific issues we see, and a little bit her questioning me on like how things are going, with gut health wise, hormonal wise, and just more so things that I do specifically with my clients, and then things that she does with her clients as well. So I'll wait for her to load on here, um, and get things going. And so if there's any questions that anyone does have until she loads on, just let me know. Um, and then we'll go from there. Let's do that. All right, perfect. There we go. Wait for her to get on here. Here we go. There we go. Can you hear me?
Hello.
There we go. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm a bit sore from today's workout. So I don't know, I'm a bit afraid of like tomorrow. So because usually if you feel it's the day that you train, like
Hmm.
you're in for a lot of pain, but I'm not complaining. How are you?
Awesome. Good. Good. Another day here. Impact. So yeah, I was just telling everyone, what we're going to be talking about, from just the gut health, hormonal, weight loss, just everything that
Yeah.
we talked about, privately earlier. And then yeah, well, first let's start out with kind of like what you do, where you're from, and all those things as well, just so my audience can know, and then I can go over a little bit for when your audience comes in as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi, I'm Angelina. I'm originally from Switzerland. I live in Bali, though. I am located in Barcelona right now, where I live. So currently traveling a little bit. I am a female fitness and nutrition coach. I've been doing that for a little bit more than 4 years now, I guess. And yeah, I originally come from bodybuilding, so this is how I found my way to the coaching, and how I found my way into like first fitness and then obviously the nutrition part and also health. Yeah, I love doing that. I'm a full-time coach and yeah, help women all over the world to transform their bodies, to get healthier and to get better. So that's about me. What about you?
Awesome. Yeah. Obviously, my name is Diego Reyes. I'm from the United States, located in Minnesota, which is a northern state right below Canada. And I'm a functional health coach. I help men and women really get to the root cause of their chronic health struggles, from fatigue, brain fog, bloating, and we do it by taking a root cause approach. Now, unlike in Switzerland, the Western world is a little bit dirty in terms of like how they really help heal someone. Pharmaceutical drug
Mm,
companies are very big out here, and there's a lot of people feeling unheard in the medical scene. And so a lot of what we do is we get to the root cause to why they're dealing with this weight loss issues, weight gain, and then obviously get them into the best health and shape of their life, which is really what we like to do as well. And
yeah.
I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and yeah, it's been incredible. I do it full time and everything. So yeah, but I was gonna say this is gonna be more of a collaborative type, live, just going through topics, because I think it was important for us to really talk about that. You and I, Angelina, we're really in the trenches every day. We're working with tons of different, people, women.
Yeah.
I work with men as well, but people that are dealing with, all sorts of issues, even if it's just like low confidence, not knowing what they're doing, what they're eating. We deal with a lot of different things. And so what we really want to do is talk about, some topics that I go over, and then some topics that you deal with your clients as well, because it's not always just, a lot of people, as we'll get into, just fail at the basics, which then leads them down the road to the spot where they're at, where they're going to need someone like me and those type of things. But yeah,
Yeah, I think we do probably have like a little, like we might have a different approach, but eventually I think we're like not treating the same people would like because they probably come from a little bit of a different angle. But eventually I think it's yeah, when it comes to like getting them healthier, I think we kind of work on the same side. And so that's super interesting because what I love is like that we come from different backgrounds. So
yeah,
you have kind of like worked in this field, and for me like I come via the sports. So I think that brings like a really cool mix to it, and like a different background, as you say, like Switzerland is pretty different than the US. For us it's like whenever for us it's always like, oh, everyone is like, oh, I love the US, but then me who looks a bit deeper into this like that stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's certainly amazing, but like do you know but like low food security standards, for example, and stuff.
yeah,
And people don't know. They have no idea. And I'm like, why do you think like a lot of like actually like when people from the US come to Europe, very often it happens that like they get rid of a lot of their like symptoms because just like through food choices,
yeah,
for example. And I'm always like, what do you think that is? And people they have no awareness of like of a lot of that. And I think this is probably one of the main parts of like what we do in our work also is like create just like um, yeah, just like knowledge also around like these topics and create awareness eventually, I would say.
yeah, 100%. I'm fully with you on that. I mean, America is not the most healthiest. I mean, by the year 2030, 7 out of 10 Americans are going to be having some form of uh, comorbidity in terms of overweight, you just pre-diabetes, insulin resistance, dysglycemia is another way to put it. And
Mm,
so it's not looking good for us over here. I mean, so
it's wild.
luckily for people like you and us, we have unlimited market potential in terms of helping people.
For
But
real.
all that aside, though, let's really get to the nitty gritty in terms of helping people, kind of getting into some things now. Let's actually just start with the convo in terms of like you following me in terms of your specific, things that you were saying, just in terms of gut health and all those different things. So, yeah, you just want to walk them through. We're going to get you a GI map test. We're going to do some gut
Yeah.
testing, and those type of things.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I remember you asked me like, how did you find me on Instagram? And I was like, I actually cannot remember. And honestly, I don't, because I think it was like on the one hand, like for like personal reasons, and also professional reasons, because I like to follow people that didn't like also have like inspired me and like know more than me. So I like to learn from like people in different fields or the same field, of course. But yeah, so for me it's like it was the same. So I think I yeah, of course I told you because I was a competitor for years, so I competed in bodybuilding. And obviously it's like you might look great from the outside or at least shredded to the T, but then eventually your gut suffers, and it's something that like most competitors suffer from. They come out of prep or whatever and their gut is literally wrecked because of like everything. And I would say like this goes for like natural athletes as well. It's enhanced probably
Yeah,
even more because of like all the things that you're taking, right? And so for me it was like, I mean, I've been competing ever since 2017, and ever since like my digestion is like wrecked, and there I seem to like not be able to find the cause. And so that was kind of how I approached you, like, or yeah, when you asked me about it I was like, oh my God. And then it was so cool because literally you were the first person who were like, you counted, like you were like, do you have experience this, and I was like, oh my God, yes. And you were like, yeah, probably it's this, let's try like the
yeah,
GMAT test. And so
yeah,
that was really cool. And I think this is like just like one example for like what you actually beautifully said to me was like a lot of people like might look good from the outside, but they feel really shitty from the inside. This was exactly me. So I was like, ah, that is something that probably a lot of people can relate to, even if they're not competitors. But like they might look good from the outside, like they have a great shape maybe, but then what about the inside? And
yeah.
so this is why I think we chose the topic optimal health.
Yep. And yeah, that's big. That's big because so many people, moving now that just broad spectrum here now, many people don't even realize how important, gut health is for them. And
Hmm.
just because they look good on the outside doesn't mean they're actually feeling good on the inside. And
No.
a lot of things happen though. In your scenario, many people just they're so stressed out, overstimulated, and what that does is pretty much cause so many things wrong in the gut microbiome. To begin things off, like, you're saying you're stressed out, you're doing all the things, not really stressed out in terms of, maybe mental and emotional, but more just so physical, dieting down, doing a bunch of cardio, resistance training. Those are all forms of stress. What happens is when you continue to keep stressing like that, it starts to cause your gut to pretty much slow down. So
Hmm.
your digestion of food starts to slow down, your gut's not really working like it should be, and so that causes you to have pretty much a buildup of bacteria then in the gut.
Hmm.
And that bacteria then just sits there in the gut and it starts to ferment. And that fermentation can cause bloating, abdominal pain, constipation, and it can even give you diarrhea. So it's like you're going back and forth. And that's pretty much a
Oh.
tall tale sign of SIBO, which is like when there's a
Hmm.
small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. Now that's kind of what the term means, but many people deal with this because they're not eating enough fiber. They're not eating whole foods, obviously. They're not eating a diverse diet. They're they're eating processed food, maybe added sugars as well, a lot of sugary things. And all these things do is actually disrupt your gut microbiome inevitably.
Yeah.
And so this is going to lead to poor nutrient absorption. It's going to lead to hormonal issues, especially because remember the thing is that I don't know how it is over there in Switzerland, but our medical system over here, Western medicine, just looks at the gut as just like it's a digestive organ. When it's much more than that. It works with absorption, obviously, and it works with digestion, but also works with your skin health, your hormone health,
Hmm.
even your mental health. So I think a big thing here is that like that chronic stress brings inflammation in the gut, and that inflammation and stress in the gut will lead to a lot of backup in the gut, so to say, in simple terms. Now, another thing is that it can lead to something called leaky gut. So leaky gut is a
Yeah.
pretty much like where you have increased permeability. So pretty much in your gut you have a cell wall that's about one cell layer thick. And what happens is when you continue to stress, think about your wall pretty much, which is your mucosa lining, so to say, it starts to
Hmm.
split and become permeable. So what then happens is now you got increased permeability. So you have people that are dealing with brain inflammation, so they have brain fog, they have fatigue. And the thing is that now like you don't have to look like you're dealing with health issues to be having these symptoms, these issues. You can look completely fine on the outside, but you could still have these
Hmm.
issues because it's the internal that's really the issue, root cause, I should say, or the poor gut health.
Yeah. And it's very often, I think this is also it's also a problem why coaches like us or eventually needed is that like so many doctors they don't like they don't get the diagnosis right, or they don't find it, or they don't even think that far. I mean, I've seen so many doctors, for example, about my issues, and like no one
Mhm.
ever suggested like Devo, or like, did you think about leaky? Well, for me, it's not leaky gut, but like, as I said, like none of that. Like one of them was like, yeah, you could try like a low FODMAP diet. I was like, what is it? And he was like, yeah, literally Google it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
great
pretty.
advice. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, over here it's even worse. I mean, they'll just label you with IBS, and I
Oh,
think
that's
IBS is a terrible.
great.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's a
It's just
terrible,
like such an
terrible
overall
diagnosis.
term for everything.
Yeah, yeah. It just really means their bowels are irritable, but obviously we have no clear, path in terms of why your bowels are even irritable in the first place. So that's really like
Yeah.
why I like to use the GI map test in a lot of cases in terms of helping people kind of identify what truly is going on with the gut. And it's going to measure a ton of things like parasites, opportunistic bacteria overgrowth. Now, this might sound like a lot of gibberish for some people, but really understand that it's really just going to tell us like what's going on inside the gut. And the
Mm.
unfortunate truth is that many people do not use this test in Western conventional medicine, meaning your doctor, your gastroenterologist, really doesn't like to use this test. More so, integrated people like to use it. But see, the thing
Why
is that
so?
why so the thing is that the insurances aren't going to pay for these stool tests because technically it's not actually proven to help support. And the
Mm.
reason is because the medical system was made to keep you, not heal you.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that they're not going to actually try to figure out what the root cause is in terms of what's going on with your gut. They're going to find out, they might do a colonoscopy to rule out IBD, Crohn's or colitis, but they're not going to figure out what's truly the root cause to why you could be dealing with bloating, constipation, acid reflux,
Mm-hmm.
diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So
It's
that's a big thing,
crazy.
but it's, yeah, it's unfortunate, but glad that we're able to get things going. But I
Yeah.
know a big thing that you talk about with your women a lot is just like like hormones and pretty much weight loss and muscle growth. I mean, can you kind of walk me through like what you'd like to tell your clients about hormones and everything, especially like even too
Oh
like
my God.
perimenopause and menopause?
Yeah, it's a wow. This is yeah. It's a pretty big topic that I think is very underrated. So for me, it's like I think the topic around hormones is very individual, but you see a lot of like issues in women. Like I do have like a few clients with, for example, PCOS, and I think it's very common, but they actually don't know. And usually when I ask them about like, well, did you ever see a doctor about this? Like, did you talk to them? And then they're like, yeah, yeah. So one of my clients actually was like the other day, we talked about this. So she was a new client, and then I asked her because for me it was like pretty clear that she had like PCOS because of like certain symptoms. And then I asked her about it, and she was like, yeah, yeah, I talked about this with my doctor. And I said like, so what did he say? And she said,
Yeah,
oh no, I can't have PCOS because I'm too fit. And I was like,
yeah,
what does this have like any I was like, that's crazy. That's wild. So this is why I think like so many like doctors are like so not educated. Or like another one, like she was at like a licensed like nutritionist. Yeah, she was like coached by her for like more than 6 months before she came to me. She didn't see any results. And so when I came to her, like in our initial call, she told me like, yeah, like she would tell her to like decrease training like completely, like
mhm,
only do cardio, and like even that like only twice a week. And I was like,
yeah,
what are you talking about? I thought because she came from CrossFit and everything. So when she changed into my coaching, we would like optimize her nutrition. Like meal timing is a big one, like a lot of
yeah,
like also females underestimate. They get up in the morning, they have their coffee, and then they leave the house. Well, your cortisol is not happy about this, and your body's not happy, your digestive tract is not happy, your hormones are not happy. And like these are a lot of things that I'm actually like getting into place for them. Or like the training in the morning, training on an empty stomach, like this is the worst ever. So these are topics I educate them around. I'm like, okay, no, let's introduce like protein first, carbs. Protein is a big one. Like like pretty much none of my clients meet their actual protein goal when they come to me, because it's something that I think in the Western diet, or I don't know how it is in like in the US, but like here it's like people think like just because they eat like a protein yogurt a day or so, like it's that's actually it. And then like most
yeah,
females are like not very much into like eating meat these days, so they're like more into like alternatives. And so I also try to get them into like, to be honest, because my approach is that like clean nutrition, good nutrition is as unprocessed as possible. So I
hmm,
try to get them into like more unprocessed food choices.
yeah,
So it's a lot about like education, and then like yeah, like actually like how to implement them. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's all crucial. It's all crucial. And the thing is that so many women deal with hormonal issues that then give them the issue that they have. So a lot of women, deal with weight loss resistance
Mm,
or weight gain, another way to say it. They deal with brain fog. They deal with fatigue. They deal with anxiety, depression. They deal with not seeing results from the efforts that they're putting in. And at the root
mm,
cause, it really should be hormonal issues. Now, the thing is that we can get into the science here. I can get always into the science, but what just Angelina just said is actually going to improve all those things that I can get into in terms of like, okay, you have hormonal issues. What does that actually mean? Well, your cortisol could be jacked up. You could have low thyroid hormone. You could have high estrogen. You could have low progesterone. And all these things are giving you anxiety, bloating, even brain fog, and weight gain. The thing is, though, is that like Angelina said, if you aren't getting enough protein, you're not going to have enough amino acids to support hormone balance, like progesterone and
mm,
estrogen metabolism. You're not going to have, if you aren't getting proper exercise in, you're not going to have a proper cortisol production, because if you're overdoing the exercise and chronically doing cardio and not doing resistance training, like weight training, then that's just going to lead you to be in a higher state of stress. Now, if you aren't getting adequate nutrients in because you're eating, not enough food, which is actually the majority of the case of most people, they're not eating enough food. So what then happening is now their cortisol is rising and now they're going hypothyroid, because what happens is when you continue to keep stressing, your cortisol gets higher, it suppresses thyroid function. And that actually puts many people on hypothyroidism. So a lot of people over here in the Western world, a lot of females unfortunately deal with hypothyroidism. They deal with something called estrogen dominance. They deal with PMS, and they deal with all these symptoms. And yes, we can look at blood tests, we can look at hormone testing, but if you aren't even doing the fundamentals first, then that's not really going to do anything. Now, it always
Mm.
switches when we're talking about perimenopausal and menopausal women, because I actually, with my coaching and practice or whatever, I use a telehealth clinic for specific cases if a woman wants to use bioidentical hormone. Because in those
Mhm.
ages of perimenopause and then when you're full blown menopause, unfortunately, just getting a hormone test doesn't really tell us much, because pretty much your hormones are already tanked, because your hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis, which is your brain to your ovary axis as a female, has been shut down, suppressed, because that's what happens at ages. So what happens is now you naturally don't produce enough hormone. So what we do is we can use bioidentical hormone to support that hormone that's getting lost. But that's a whole different topic in itself in terms of talking about menopause and perimenopause. But for women that are, in their 20s, 30s, maybe even early 40s, like if you aren't getting enough protein, and like Angelina said, you're not going to have enough amino acids to actually make proper thyroid hormone or all the other reproductive hormones your body makes. If you aren't getting adequate resistance training in, you're not going to get the right insulin response that you'd want. Because if you're insulin resistant, that's going to lead you to have weight gain as well. So, kind of like what she's saying. Yeah, I do want to touch on another topic here, and that's PCOS. So yeah, that's a big thing over here. I mean, it's the most common hormonal disorder here, and it affects so many women of reproductive ages, making them infertile, unfortunately. And the thing is that there is different forms of PCOS that an individual can have. They can have insulin resistant PCOS, meaning they body has um, not making enough insulin, I should say, or too much. I'm trying to figure it out here. Or really just pretty much their blood sugar is jacked up. They have a high A1C, and so that's going to cause them to have weight gain. And now they're not able to effectively use blood glucose or glucose sugars for energy. It just stores. Another big thing is that woman could be just inflamed and stressed. That can bring in PCOS. And then a woman could just have get off just birth control, and that can cause her to have temporary PCOS as well, because the
Mhm.
surge of hormones that comes back from getting off birth control can lead to ovarian cyst. Now the issue is that PCOS is usually an umbrella diagnosis, meaning like you have to fit something called a Rotterdam criteria to actually fit a PCOS diagnosis. So it's kind of, a blanket term, but I mean, in my clinical experience, me helping a bunch of clients, we can most definitely reverse PCOS by doing the lifestyle things, just like you had mentioned, getting more
Mhm.
protein in, getting enough sleep, switching to a whole food diet. All these things are going to do what we just talked about that causes PCOS. If you aren't getting enough nutrients in, you're going to be very stressed out. You're going to be inflamed. Well, if we get enough nutrients in and use resistance training to build muscle to what we want as coaches to have a better body composition, that's going to inevitably improve hormonal balance. Because the
Mhm.
truth is, I go on my Instagram every day and I'm talking about a lot of complex things, but it's not that complex, because really at the end, it's the end all be all in terms of like, it's the lifestyle, eating, and training that really needs to be changed from within. Now, the only difference is that it needs to be bio individualized to you, your activity, and all those things. But nonetheless, like what Angelina is saying and what you see on my stuff, it's the same thing. We have to support nutrient status, make sure you're eating enough, make sure you're eating, whole foods so you get the micronutrients in the foods so you can support all these biological processes. You need to make sure you're not undersleeping 5 hours, 4 hours a night so you can actually have cortisol managed, cortisol
Mhm.
stress mitigated. You got to make sure that you're getting resistance training so you can improve insulin sensitivity. You can improve pretty much so many different things, hormonal balance as well. So that's so big.
And it's actually just literally it's just the basics. I think for us, from like an outside perspective, for us it's like so simple sometimes to look at it and be like, Oh yeah, like for us, it's like you need to fix like this. It's like there are so many different options. Of course, sometimes like figuring out, as I said, like with an individual approach. But like I think there's something that that I heard the other day, and it kind of stuck with me. Was like the problem today is not that we're overweight; it's we're under muscled. And this
Yep.
made so much sense to me because it's like this is literally so often the key to so much. And like because so me coming from bodybuilding, and I mean I'm not huge, right? But still like for some females, it's like I'm already too much. I have too much muscle, right? So they want like to have like this lean look, like this skinny, the shape toned look, right? And then I'm always like talking, so I'm always trying to talk about like skeletal muscles because this is literally like what we're talking about. This is health. And I try to educate a lot around this topic, how important it eventually is for your overall health. Because there are so many people that are like, ah, I don't like going to the gym or whatever. And like, you don't need to go to the gym. Like, I have so many clients, they do actually home workouts and
Yep.
they love it. So they're like great tools. I love TRX, for example. I discovered it during COVID when I trained at home. Oh my God, like this is one of the best tools. You can literally bring it everywhere. Like some clients have like barbells at home, dumbbells. Some
Yeah.
have like really simple equipment, almost no equipment. You can do, but like you have to do something. And so I feel like people literally they underestimate the importance how muscle mass and like just like skeletal muscles like literally participates to your longevity and your life quality, and eventually muscle mass is life quality. And this is something that I try to emphasize so much. And there of course protein comes into play, dietary protein, but you can eat as much dietary, you can literally eat 3 grams per kilogram of like, well, sorry, I'm from Switzerland, we count in
No, it's all
kilograms.
good.
um Okay, per body weight. If you don't strength train, you don't have that stimulus to actually grow your muscle mass. So, muscle mass. So you kind of you have to do this part also, and it's something that I try to educate around a lot,
Yeah.
especially for all these reasons, because it influences all health matters.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's so crucial. That's so crucial. And you know, talking on the topics of hormones and everything, I'm curious on like what you like to do with hormone with women that are on contraceptives, like birth control. Like, are you doing anything different for them, or how do you like to approach that with your clients?
Mm, yeah, this is a very it's a really sensitive topic.
Hmm.
So since I am a female, I try to talk to, or I try to always figure out or find out what the reasons are that they are taking contraception, because not everyone is taking it for so there, for example, some females on P like with PCOS, they're taking contraception.
Hmm.
That in my opinion is like a bit of a different approach than like someone who's just who doesn't want to get pregnant, right?
Hmm.
So I always try to like figure out first what's the reason, then I try to talk to them about like is there any possibility to like get off it and like change, can you like maybe change from the pill to like an IUD, which like is still in my opinion a better option if you like want to like not conceive right now, right? So but yeah, it of course, like because I with some clients I do, for example, like hormone testings, and with others like with the my like females on contraception, yeah, not really. Then like for example, we look more at like thyroid hormones and stuff, but still like it influences everything. Contraception, eventually it influences everything. And this is like something that in my opinion gets underestimated a lot, but it very often I see that like these females have like their bodies have like more resistance towards reaching their body goals, like
Hmm.
losing fat. It's also something that I bit like observe with the topic of like gaining more fat around the waist, which is not
Yep.
very typically female if we look from like an estrogen standpoint, where we are like first lean out in the upper body, like, and then rather like last in like legs, glutes, like the lower body, right? So this always tells me there is something off, like with the hormones, and then we
Yeah.
try to find an approach. How do you do it as a man? It's really interesting
Hmm.
because, yeah.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, a lot of people actually do come to me to get off birth control because
Mm,
unfortunately, there's so many horror stories of women that do it incorrectly. And the first thing is that so if a woman comes on and they're on birth control, obviously it's their choice. To me, it doesn't matter because I'm just trying to get them, better, heal them. And the thing is I do talk about like this is affecting what you want. Now, if you want to do it for you not getting pregnant and those type of things, like I'm totally for it. Like you do what you want to do, doesn't affect me. You keep doing what you're doing. But if you're like, why can't I get the results, or why am I not as optimal as I want to be? Why
mm,
am I not getting better? I really do I do educate on them. I do educate my females, which majority of them and what's actually what's happening when you're taking hormonal birth control. I mean, you're not absorbing nutrients correctly. It's
mm,
depleting your body from B vitamins. It's completing it from magnesium. So now you're nutrient deficient. It's leading to gut health issues. It can cause increased permeability. It can cause mental, emotional health issues because you're messing with your hormones, which then messes with your neurotransmitters. It just suppresses your natural hormone production. So now you're not even making hormone naturally, and it obviously causes metabolic slowdown. I mean, it can increase estrogen, which you talked about, increase weight around the hips, the
mm,
midsection. So I really like to educate them on those standpoints. And it's important because many women in Western civilization culture use birth control because like sometimes women don't even have a choice. They're 14 years old and they're having, heavy periods, or they're having, issues, PCOS, and the doctor just slaps it on them without showing them like what are the consequences to that, or they don't even tell them things that they can do first naturally before just putting them on a pharmaceutical drug like that. And it's very unfortunate. It can change brain chemistry. It can alter those things. It can alter the gut microbiome. It can alter nutrient absorption. So really, that's what I like to tell my clients is just all of the education behind it. And then I show them like these are legitimate the research. I mean, it's very clear that these birth controls can cause many things. Now, I have a whole way that I like to get a woman off birth control. If you want me to get into that, kind of like how I like to transition off of birth control in terms of a female.
mhm.
Um, yeah, so like a big thing is that the biggest thing is that when you are on birth control, the biggest thing is like you're getting nutrient deficient. You don't have enough nutrients, or the birth control is depleting nutrients. So the first step we got to do if you're trying to get off birth control, not medical advice, but you got to replenish the nutrients that are getting lost from birth control. These are things like B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, selenium, iodine. Now all these
Mm,
funny enough, these minerals actually really help with your thyroid. So this is why many women are hypothyroid after being on birth control for many years. It's a clear
mm,
connection there. Now, another thing is that we got to make sure you're getting nutrients up. So usually we got to feed the individual up. We got to feed the female up, reverse dieting, doing all those things. And then
mm.
once after some weeks of us doing that and we're lowering stress, we're lowering inflammation, we then can pull the birth control and then use supportive supplements, natural things to support what was not getting made anymore. So we can use progesterone supporting supplements to help with luteal phase for a woman that's not menstruating correctly to get her cycle back. We can use estrogen detoxification support to help with getting rid of that excess estrogen that might have gotten built up while she was taking the birth control. And then we can use even other androgen support, depending on if this woman was PCOS, you always want to do testing before. But if a woman's PCOS, you might not want to use that. But if she wasn't and she was just low on hormones, then we can use things to help her bring up her DHEA, is what it's called. We can help her bring things in to bring up her testosterone. And then a big thing is we got to fix the microbiome, because what happens is that when you're continuing to take birth control for years on end, like I talked about, it disrupts the gut heavily. So we got to have some time where we focus on bringing back good prebiotics, probiotics, bring back a what is called a sealed gut lining, because many women get leaky gut from birth control. So we got to do that. So it's like a three-step process. We want to replenish, replace, and then rebalance the microbiome. So if that kind of makes sense, replenish back with the nutrients that were lost, replace the hormones that were taken out, and then rebalance the microbiome in terms of getting things back into order in a diversity standpoint.
That sounds really good. I like
Yeah,
the
so
structure.
exactly. I mean, that's why a lot of women come to me and they want to get off birth control because we can do it safely. We don't have to have them rebound. They're not going to
Mm,
get acne. They're not going to get weight gain because we do it correctly. We do it right, and it's not easy, but we do it. They're going to have, nothing is easy in life. I mean, what's
mm.
hard? Not liking what you see in the mirror, or making the changes to actually like what you see in the mirror. It's and we can get into this topic. I know we didn't have it, but I think a big thing is that the psychological thing of it. Like, when is it going to be the day you draw a line in the sand and you want to change your life? I think it's cool that we talk about a lot of the education stuff. I do every day, and obviously my clients hear it a lot. But the thing is that what I want to talk about, you have to psychologically believe that you can do it, and you got to have that drive in you to want to change. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole different thing. But I do want to talk about, like, you know, I know we had it, but like, why is it when I diet a man, he just loses so much weight right away, and then when I diet a female, she's it's different. I mean, I obviously know the answer, but how do you like to approach it in
Uh,
explaining females? Because I know you got women that come to you and they're like, how come my husband does this and he's lost like 10 pounds, has more energy, he has all this, and I'm just over here. I can't even get the scale to go down 2 pounds, let alone one. Like, what do you like to say is the biggest difference in that?
oh my God. So I love that topic, man versus female. So there's like what I think a lot of people don't know is like that there are actually more differences between like men and women than we actually think. And I mean, it already starts in the literally in the fetus, like when we start to develop also like different, like everything is different for us. It starts with like muscle fibers, goes to like nutrition, everything, like our hormones. And so it's actually really sad when I hear women, like, as I said, for example, comparing themselves to their partners, because I have exactly this situation a lot of them. They're like, ah, so I'm going on, like, I'm trying a new diet, and like my partner tries the same, like, he's losing weight. And I'm like, yeah, but like, look at the function of nature. So, us females, we were made to carry a baby. So, actually, the nature wants to keep us alive for longer, which is why we do, for example, we adapt way quicker to any stimulus. For example, our bodies hold more onto fat, especially in the lower body, but it's literally because we are supposed to get pregnant at any moment given, and to be able to have a baby and to nourish that baby. And so our body definitely wants to keep these, yeah, all the body fats, because eventually fat is nothing else than just energy, available energy the body can use for whatever it needs. And so either it's like for our own survival, or it's, as I said, to eventually be available to, yeah, have a baby, to carry a baby, to like grow it. And then on the other hand, there's the men, and they're like, men's metabolism, like they work completely different.
Mhm,
So means, for example, for example, let's talk about like fasting, right? Our bodies, female bodies, are not made for fasting. So
mhm,
as I said, when we get up in the morning, we have a coffee or whatever, and we like just leave the house, and whatever, our cortisol rises, our body is not happy. Like, and then we literally have like these elevated cortisol levels that like just stay. It's not just like they get up and then they leave, like over the time, like it's increased. And for men, it's so much different. So you can literally like have your first meal around like noon or whatever, and you feel perfectly fine. You probably even like, you can easily shred that way. And for us, it doesn't work. Our bodies, they just say,
mhm,
no, it's not for us, because our hormone system works so much different, because we also have two parts in our brain, right? We have like one part more that you guys don't have, and the reason is because you don't have a cycle. And so that part of the brain is very um tightly tied to nutrient availability. And so in the morning, when there's no food, for example, coming in, like we're getting into this, like our brain is getting into this panic state, like, where's the food? Where's the food? We need the food in order to work properly, in order for our hormones to work properly. And so this is why like very little food already is enough. You don't need to have a full meal at like 5 a.m. in the morning when this is the time to get up. So what I do is, for example, having coffee with protein powder, isolate. And then some, for example, rice milk or something like this already works perfectly fine. And then I'm ready, like good to go. My body is happy, my brain is happy, everything is just calm. And for you guys, it works differently, because you don't have that. And so this is why there are like so many differences. So when we're like going back in time, when, so for example, let's say there was not a lot of food around, males, you still need to be able to kind of provide the food, right? While we
Hmm.
need our body to work to be able to nourish a baby, you need to like get leaner, get faster, get more like sharper. This is something that a lot of guys experience when they're like shredding or like even fasting and stuff. Like you get sharper. For us, it's the other way around, right? And so, yeah, it's actually like nature is so like is really yeah, really smart when it comes to that. And eventually everything can get like broken down to that, like how nature developed us to work in the big context.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And when I'm speaking with women, because I get that all the time with my females, and I really like to emphasize just how women's obviously hormones are a lot different than men. And the thing is that you got to realize that I talked to a female, and you got to realize that you're trying to go through different hormones, different times of the month. You're running on either estrogen, progesterone, testosterone sometimes, but mainly you're going back and forth from estrogen, progesterone, depending on if you're follicular phase, luteal phase. But in men, they just have a straight shot. They're just always on testosterone. They're mainly testosterone driven, and testosterone's an anabolic hormone. Like your ability to build muscle is so much better with higher testosterone. Your ability to have more
Mm.
motivation, even fat loss, is even higher metabolic rates. And so what I tell the female is like your but like you said, you need that extra weight for you to have all your physiological functions you need as a female because you're
Mhm.
made to reproduce. You need more estrogen because you have breasts and ovaries. We don't need that much estrogen. That's why our estrogen is so much lower, but we have more testosterone. And so the biggest thing is just the hormonal difference between the two.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that um you can't just diet a female like a smaller man. They're more stress mitigated. They're typically just the men physiology, they can handle more physical stress, I should say. Like they can take a beating in terms of like you said, our bodies, or I don't want to say more resilient, but they just have, different structures because we mainly run on testosterone. And then
Mhm.
our cortisol doesn't raise as much as females because we don't have that altered part in our brain like you talked about where because we were made to hunt, we were made to fight essentially. And then we're
Mm.
just going back to evolutionary times and females were made to take care of, to comfort, to feed. And so those are going to be the biggest things too, just our physiology. Now, that doesn't mean that women can't lose weight like men, or men can't have a hard time losing weight either. It just means that we got to have those things in perspective in terms of when we are looking to diet down, when we're looking to train. And the thing is that you got to compare your old self to now. You can't compare yourself to another biological human being like like it's hard for you to just think about, oh, I'm a girl over here and why am I not losing weight like this man over here. You got to realize you're two biological different human beings, and
Mm.
that's what's incredible. That's how our creator made us, and so we got to take that into advantage in terms of like, don't focus on them, focus on you, focus on being better than you, being better than because I can sit here and talk about the science, I can show you this lab work and show you all the studies why men can do this and that, and you can't do this, but you can do that, and he can't do that. We can get all of that, but it really, when we're talking about health, we're talking about fitness, we're talking about healing. You got to be better than what you were, and you focusing on other people, you focusing on different gender, you focusing on this is not going to help you in the long run. And so that's important too. The psychological thing, like why would you compare yourself to someone else when you can compare yourself to your old self because you're trying to improve your old self, not someone else. You do
Yeah.
it for you, not them. And
Yeah.
so that's a
Yeah.
big thing too. Um, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
In
obviously,
general, the whole mindset part,
mhm,
I would say.
yeah,
I
like
don't know.
it's
I think it even I think this one like differs also from men to women, in my
mhm,
opinion. Like because I did coach men in the past, and
mhm,
now I mainly like focus on women. And so you just have like there are different like even like for example communication is you talk different. I talk differently to like females than like to men. You can like for men you can literally be like, dude, just like get your shit together and like hit your macros, do this and this and this, and they're like, yes boss. And like with
Mhm.
females it's different. It's not that they're like more emotional or whatever, like not at all, but it's like there's
Mhm.
more communication, there's more looking into it. My since I focused on like women only, my check-in questionnaire has grown, right? Because like there's so many more
Variables.
aspects you're looking
Yeah.
into. It's like it's really like there's like the mindset part, there's like really the like female health part, and also like how you approach things. And so I feel like this really needs to be taken into consideration. This is why also a lot of females don't feel understood by men, like no offense, like
Hmm.
but like more so like for example their partners, right? Because they're like they don't get it.
Yeah.
They're like but it's so easy, and they're like what the hell, like, and eventually like explaining to like females for example, yeah, but like for guys maybe the calories in calories out works better, but like for females not so much. Like for us
Hmm.
you need to go more into the deeds. I feel like this also really gives them some relief. Or like when I explain one of my clients when she's like, I'm always so hungry in the morning, but I decided to like to not eat because my partner is not doing that as well. Then I'm like, no, it's okay. You're allowed to feel hungry. If you're actually not hungry in the morning, then I'm a bit concerned. And then we need to look into that. Like, why are you not hungry? It's very it's natural for us females to feel that way. And as I said, men are different. So don't follow him on his path. What he does, what feels right to him, but you do what feels right for you and your body. And so often it gives them some relief, because it's also like an allowance to actually follow their body and be like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with me just because I don't function like a man. No, not at all. Like
Yeah.
everything is right,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. And obviously, like I work with a majority of women, and that's a thing that I talk about all the time. Now, you know, thankfully for me, in the process of what we're doing, when women start to eat more, they start to lose more weight. And
Uh-huh.
obviously it's the same for you because you're bringing down cortisol, you're bringing down inflammation, you're actually nourishing yourself, which is actually upregulating metabolism. So now you have more energy, your output's more, you have more drive, you have more motivation. Now what's going to happen is that even though you're eating a little bit more calories than what you're burning, you actually are losing it because it balances out in terms of like it might put you into a little deficit or you stay at a maintenance. But since now you're reducing
Mhm.
inflammation, you're getting cortisol managed, you're actually feeling a lot better. You're looking a lot better. You're more toned. Your body composition is improving. And so I think a big thing too is just educating too in terms of like, okay, yeah, we got the hormonal differences, we got the different physiology of a man, but understand that you're actually fueling yourself rather than starving yourself. You starving yourself
Mhm.
is going to do more harm than good, but you fueling yourself is going to actually do great benefit. And I think that leads into
Mhm.
the next topic in terms of like I want to skip the Western medicine stuff. I mean, the Western conventional side of things, and I want to make it more applicable to people like you and I in different countries. But you were in
Mhm.
Switzerland, I'm in the United States, and I think a big thing in both areas of the world is just nervous system health, and just I think
Mhm.
a lot of issues manifest from pretty much having an upregulated nervous system. I know it can lead to gut issues, like particularly with your case. I mean, just always going, stressing, even running like a business and what you're doing, that can lead to just a
Mhm.
lot of emotional nervous system dysregulation. So I think a big thing is that when our body is chronically stressed, we're stuck in fight or flight, and that fight or
Mhm.
fight will lead to so many issues from gut issues, us slowing down our ability to digest and assimilate food, or hormonal issues. We're not able to have a proper cycle now. Now we're having missed periods. You're having missed periods as a female. You're having irregular periods as a female because you're so stressed out, stuck in fight or flight. You have all these neurotransmitter imbalances, meaning now you aren't making enough serotonin or dopamine. So now you're feeling,
Mhm.
depressed, anxious. And so I think a big thing is that, and part of the transformation journey, a part of what we're doing is pretty much helping us regulate stress. It's helping us lower the what is called the sympathetic state that we're in, which is fight or flight, into the parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest. That's going to be the biggest thing I talk to about all my females, all my clients, is that we're always on go. We're always scrolling. We're always on in social media. We're getting ourselves in situations that we don't need to be in. We're talking about the toxic things. We're talking about people that have nothing to do with us. We're talking about politics. We're doing this. We're doing that.
nothing to do with us in our life. And so I think like a big thing, I know you talk about it too with your clients, is that you gotta regulate your stress. You gotta cut out the toxic people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And because I feel like in today's world, so I see it a little bit as like women kind of, I feel like we need to be, or we want to be everything for everyone. All right.
Yep.
So we want to be like on the one hand, like you want to grow a family, on the other hand, you still need to be you need to be in business. You want to be like a good, like the other good
Yeah,
girlfriend,
wearing all the
good like
hats, they
employee. You want
say.
to do
Yeah.
everything. And then of course, like you get into like also this state of like you're constantly tired but wired. I think we all know this, right?
Mhm.
And or like most of my clients know it, like they're actually constantly tired, like whenever they already get up in the morning, they're already like or still tired, but then like they're like for example social like hanging on social media until like still late at night because then they can't really sleep, they can't get down, right?
Mhm.
They can't get their nervous system down. And so what I really try to is also like implement some things like honestly really basic things like um digital detox before going to sleep is a big one that I love, because I think in today's world a lot comes down to also like dopamine. We're constantly looking for like dopamine hits, and most of them are artificial these days. They're not natural anymore. Because like for example, how many people these days actually like get out a lot, get in like even like get enough like sunlight exposure, daylight exposure. Like we're literally also the most sedentary generation that comes today, right? So I'm try to like get them also like into like movement and everything to actually like yeah calm down. And then like with some I do implement stuff like meditation or breath work, but not everyone is open to that, let's be honest, or like
Yeah.
feels like I wants to take time for it. So I think like for some people like as I said, like implementing like things in a routine, like okay, 30 minutes before you go to bed you don't, like you can read or whatever, but like you don't have any blue light like on anymore, like
Yeah.
don't use your phone or your iPad or whatever. And so this can like really help. Yeah. What are things
Yeah.
that you implement with your clients?
Yeah. Yeah. First, it's all about, there's steps of change. There's 5 steps in change, and the first is identification. And a lot of people, after working with me for a week or 2 weeks, are identifying like, we get to the root cause, but the root cause sometimes is us doing too much, but doing too
Hmm.
little of what gives us life. Because sometimes we're not
Hmm.
burnt out from doing too much, we're burnt out from doing too little of what actually gives us life. And a lot of people then realize that a lot of the reason to why they're dealing with all these issues is because they're so stuck in fight or flight. They are so dysregulated with their nervous system health or in tune with their self. And obviously, we talk about females and they want to be in tune with their body. They want to feel comforted. They want to help everyone else, but they don't ever want to
Hmm.
really help themselves sometimes. So I think a lot of the times when I'm working with someone, they get a profound transformation because we actually slow down and we figure out what do you want with yourself? What are you truly trying to do with yourself? And
Hmm.
it's a big thing as well. And a lot of the times I like to implement, obviously the breath work is great, but I like to actually use binaural beats.
Oh
Now, as I said,
yeah.
I studied Ayurvedic medicine for a little bit. I studied what Eastern medicine is another way to put it. And I obviously studied functional medicine. And the things is that sounds heal people. Sounds help people. And
Hmm.
that's talking about hertz of music. So what I'd like to tell my clients is that I don't tell them, I'm not going to tell them do more things that I already have them do. What I'd like to do is
Hmm.
like, you don't need to sit down and journal. You don't need to sit down and meditate. What you need to do is pop in some headphones if you have any or not, just play it out loud. Play some binaural beats. Play binaural beats when you're cleaning. Do binaural beats when you're driving in the car or you're about to go get your kid, you're about to go do something on your way to work. Don't overstimulate yourself with dopamine heady music. Don't do this, don't do that. Just calm down and get in tune with your body. And they start to internalize it and they start to slow down and this starts to help regulate their nervous system. Let alone this helps them actually adhere to what we're doing here. And so that's like the biggest thing I like to do is the binaural beats because really the sounds, because really what binaural beats are, it's a specific hertz, but they're different on each side of the ear. This is why I like using headphones and they help heal you. They help with pretty much balancing your adrenals. They balance your I mean cardiometabolic health in terms of like your heart rate, your palpitations. It balances everything. It supports your obviously nervous system heavily. So that's really the biggest thing I like to do about the nervous system dysregulation. Now, a big thing too is removal. I mean, the biggest thing what we do is
Hmm.
removing. I think that's easy for people to adhere to. And now, just like us removing all the crap from the diet, us crap from overtraining, we want to remove the negative
Hmm.
things that are causing this thing. And that might be people, that might be places, and that might be things. We got to remove the toxic relationships. So we got to remove the toxic people. We got to remove talking about different people or just talking about people in general when we got to be worrying about ourselves. And just
Hmm.
like that, that transforms a lot of people's um, pretty much mental and emotional health as well, which then bring in that physical transformation, just like we're looking for, and ultimately help the individual heal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I read about this. The binaural beats. That's
Binaural
right.
beats, yep.
Binaural beats. And I didn't know about that before because I think I read it somewhere, like from your content. And I was like, let's try it. And honestly, I've been trying it for the last few days, and it's so nice because
Mhm.
I
I'm
come
glad.
like from the ADHD side, and it's like really hard for
Yeah,
me to like focus sometimes, and I can listen to it for like hours because I'm working for hours. And I
yeah,
felt like so balanced. Like I think that's the right. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I let you know. I think I messaged you about it. And I said, oh
yeah.
my God, I've been trying
It's,
this. It's amazing.
it's
Yeah. So
incredible.
I can really highly recommend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
It's
been using for the past like year and a half ish, a little bit. Obviously when I'm doing a lot of deep work and stuff like that every day, and
mm-hmm,
I think it also helped me with a lot of trauma, and so
mm-hmm,
it releases old trauma out of your body because the body keeps score. And the reason why I'm
mm-hmm,
getting all into this mental, emotional, psychological thing is because it's a profound impact on your health. I mean, if you aren't right up here, no matter how many diets, supplements, or things you do, no matter how much working out, if you aren't right up here, that's not going to fix anything. And so
mm-hmm,
you getting your mental, emotional health under control is really the ultimate catalyst. And obviously I talk about fixing your physiology while fixing your psychology, but hell with that, let's fix both at once. Let's fix your mental
mm-hmm,
and emotional health while fixing your physical health. You got brain fog, you got depression, eat a better diet. You got, like the thing is that these things all tie together. And if you are, then we got to really get to what is the root. And I think a big thing is about purpose with people. A lot of people walk around without any purpose or higher power. Now,
yeah.
I'm not sure how it is over there and where you're at or with you specifically or Switzerland, but the thing is that I like to bring in a lot of our faith over here. I like to bring in faith because, in this day and age, you got to just have that to be able to function. I can't think of a day without me not having a higher power
Mm-hmm,
above me helping me in terms of
mm-hmm,
that. So, and what does this actually have to mean with anything that we're just talking about? Well, it all helps with nervous system. It helps relax us. It helps us get our mental side things under control, thinking it's all going to be okay. And all this will
mm-hmm.
do is help us actually adhere to what people like you and I provide for other individuals. So that's why I think it's such a huge thing in what we're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think it's of even more importance in today's world. Because I mean nowadays like everything is going fast and everything needs to happen super fast. And I feel like it's a very um, conflicting world, and there's a lot of pressure onto like everyone because literally nowadays, thanks also to the web and everything, you can be everything, and you can be anyone and like do everything if you want to. But like, and this is like there are a lot of opportunities, but also there's so much pressure, I feel like. And so I think it's like even more important to like come back to ourselves and kind of reconnect with ourselves, because we're so like outside oriented and like just try to like get through the day. And that's when this happens, that we like kind of also disconnect from ourselves. And this is when yeah, we kind of don't we lose the ability to calm down. And it's absolutely true, like if your mental state is not well, or you're not in the right place, you have a very hard time to follow through with everything in order to, for example, reach your goal. But then on the other hand, it's like there are a lot of people who are like, I don't really have the energy to work out. I'm too tired. I don't have the time. Whatever it is. And then for me, it's like I do see it a little bit from a different standpoint, because I do have like, I have experience with like severe anxiety for years and years. And so one thing that I would never let go of was working out, like was training. And so there were like so many times when I was at the gym and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like I don't even have the energy. But then also I feel like it's a component that always brings you back into the body. And so physical activity is something that always will help you with like any kind of like also mental issues or mental situations, just because it brings it back into the body, it brings it back to like actually also breathing. Like this is a big one. Like most people these days, we don't breathe anymore, like not
Yeah,
properly. And so um yeah, I feel like it literally all like really comes together in order to like have like a more like a more calm nervous system, and that helps in the like in the whole context.
exactly. Exactly. And that's powerful stuff because, I mean, so many people are running around and they really think that it's just, their health issues that are, or what I should say, their inconfidence that they have, the way that they don't like themselves in the mirror. They think it's, but really it's just them trying to they got to get in tune with themselves. They got to get in tune with their body.
Mm-hmm.
But um, yeah, we definitely talked about a lot today. We talked about obviously, gut
We
health. We
did.
talked about hormone, men and women. We talked about all these things. And so, what are some good takeaways that an individual can have from pretty much listening to all this?
um re-listen to all of it again. No, I think it's really that like health is a big term, yes, but eventually that it really comes down to the basics. Like people think like people are always looking for the quick fixes, or they're always looking for the next, I don't know, wonder pill or magic pill or whatever, when there actually isn't one. Like fix your basics. And we mean like literally like the, as we said in the beginning, fix your nutrition, fix your exercise, fix your sleep, fix
Yeah.
your gut health, fix your mental health. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. It's like really like this is the fundament of literally everything. And this is what everything builds upon. So don't try to start with fancy supplements or fancy medications or whatever. Get your fundamental right.
Yeah, and I piggyback on that because a lot of the times it's people heal their gut when they're just removing things that are affecting their gut, and that's including excess stress. That's including excess mental and emotional stress as well. So obviously things that are going to affect the gut, processed food, a bunch of added sugar, hyperpalatable food, as one would call it. It's obviously going to disrupt the gut, but even just, not being in sync with your body, not getting enough sleep, not getting movement, not getting steps in, it's going to all do that thing. And just like that, like all those things are also going to help improve hormone balance. If you're doing all those things, getting enough sleep, eating a better diet, getting more protein, it's going to do all those things as well. And it's going to help with your thyroid. It's going to help with your gut health. It's going to help with your hormonal issues, your PMS, your heavy periods, your missed periods. It's going to help with all those things. And so, just like she said, it's the fundamentals, resistance training, getting some type of movement in, but better body composition, another way to put it. And so,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, it's been a great conversation. I mean, a great blessing, and we're definitely
Yes.
gonna have to do this again sometime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm so happy. And it works pretty well, I think so.
Mhm.
We were a bit like concerned first because of the time zones, but I think it works
Oh
perfectly
no,
well.
yeah, perfect. Well, like I know there, I'm gonna have this as a joint collab on my Instagram, but where else can people find you?
Same.
Like, what's your Instagram and stuff like that?
Oh, it's so I do have my main profile is in German because most of my
Hmm.
clients are from Switzerland and
Okay.
they prefer German, so that's Angelina.js. But I do have a like more private one, which I run in English since I moved to Bali, and it's AngelinaJS.daily. And so,
Okay.
but it's like it's not a closed one, it's public.
Okay.
So yeah, and just like hit me up, send me a DM, like I'm so
Hmm.
open to talk and I love to help.
Yep.
What about you?
Yep. Yeah. Obviously, you can find me at Diego Reyes Health. Really on Instagram. I'm on YouTube as well, Diego Reyes 04, but really just on Instagram. If you send me a message or just look at my content, support it. I mean, that's always great. You learn a thing or two. But yeah, I'm glad,
Yeah,
and we're gonna get this going again sometime.
definitely.
All right, Angelina.
Awesome.
Well, you keep killing it
Thank
over there,
you so
and
much.
and we'll be doing it. All right.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
All right.